Good morning. Well, it's 9:15 on this Sunday morning. It's the 11th of July 2021 and I've come back to the Upper Derwent Valley again because there's just one more walk in this area that I want to do. And the beauty about this particular walk is that it will actually involve walking beside all three of the reservoirs. So that's here at Ladybower, Derwent and Howden Reservoirs. So looking forward to that. I always have a little bit of a laugh to myself every time I come to Ladybower Reservoir now. A lot of my old friends from Bristol have been up to visit me several times, and there's one guy, one friend of mine, he's been up at least half a dozen times now. But he rings me now and again, and when he's on the phone he sort of says, "All right, Pat, how's it going? All right? Work all right?" he says. But there was one time when he actually came to visit me. He came up and he said, "You're Pat, right?" He said, "You know where you live?" He said, "You got a place near you called Ladyblowers?" I said, "Do you mean Ladybower?" I think he was deliberately doing that. Don't think he really knew it was called Ladyblowers, but oh God, Ladyblowers! I just thought that was hilarious. So now, whenever I come to Ladybower, I always call it Ladyblowers, after my friend from Bristol. Oh, good stuff. I just think that's such a funny story, that. Crossing the lane, I took a bridleway at a signpost beside Bridge End car park. The broad track climbed steadily as I passed through the woodland at Hagg's side. Reaching a junction of paths at the top, I bore right through a gate to head out into the open, where I started to get some wonderful views. It's still a bit murky, but still some great views. Really spectacular along here. So I'm now looking down into the valley of the River Ashop, sort of coming down, flowing downstream, and then it eventually flows into Ladybower Reservoir. But you can hear the motorbikes in the background down in the valley, because of course running more or less parallel with the River Ashop is the A57 Snake Pass, which runs between the Upper Derwent Valley reservoirs and goes over the top and then drops down the other side into Glossop. Fantastic. I carried on, heading in a northwesterly direction. Arriving at another junction of paths, my way was to head for the ladder stile on the skyline. I progressed across the heights of Rowlee Pasture, which revealed a succession of superb views over the valley of the River Ashop to my left. This is lovely, as all my walks in the Peak District are. Yeah, they do say that it's going to be cloudy for much of the day today, and there could be some sunny spells. You can just see the sun above the clouds in some parts, so hopefully it will break through during the course of the day. But there are showers expected too, so I brought my coat with me just in case. Lovely. Well, I had my second jab a month ago, so that's good. I'm now fully vaccinated. But as I've said before, I'm not going to be complacent. As I've said before as well, being out in the fresh air is the best place for everybody, but I'm still going to keep my distance from people. You know, I don't really want to take any chances because, you know, even though a lot of people have been vaccinated now, people can still be carrying the infection. But yeah, I think although the infection rate is going up again at the moment and the final restrictions are supposed to be lifted a week tomorrow, all being well, you know, the data is actually showing that the vaccines are working despite the infections going up again. So that was inevitable, I think. And of course today, it's a very big day for a lot of the country because England are in the final in the Euro. I don't know why I'm saying that actually, because I'm not a fan of football, but I do hope they win. And I think after the last year and a half that we've all had, it's just what everybody needs.
My onward route rose in a steady plod, later becoming flagged as it encountered wetter ground. Finally broaching the hill, I could clearly see my next port of call about half a mile ahead.
Another reason I chose this particular walk today was because I knew that there would be a particular landmark that was on this route. I am now approaching that landmark. Just ahead of me there. This is Alport Castles. It's lovely. Very pretty. I think I've actually only ever been up to Alport Castles once before. Well, I have. I know I've only been here once before. Just starting to rain a little bit now. They did say we might get some showers today. Looking a bit ominous, but so I've got my coat if necessary. Doesn't stop it. Doesn't spoil the scenery though. It's still beautiful up here. Look at that.
At over half a mile long, Alport Castles are a landslip feature, thought to be the largest landslide in the UK. The landslide occurred following the thaw at the end of the last ice age, some 12,000 years ago. The cliff face is still vulnerable, and heavy rain contributes to ongoing movement and periodic rockfalls.
Wow, it's amazing when you think about it how simple rocks can just make the landscape look so spectacular. Absolutely wonderful. This would be the great place to stop today and have my lunch, but it's only 11:15, so I'm a bit early. Nevertheless, it's certainly a spot that I could just stand or sit here all day and just gaze over this view. Fantastic.
The name Castles comes from the debris from the landslide, which has produced several gritstone mounds that tower over the valley and appear from the distance to look like castles. Viewed from a distance, the largest of these, the tower, resembles a full-scale Motte and Bailey castle.
I really could just hang on here for a bit longer, because if I wait here for another half an hour or so, it'll be lunchtime, so... However, I'm not really halfway through the walk yet, so I better move on, sadly. But what a spot, what an absolutely wonderful spot. Alport Castles. Okay, well I'm going to move away from this valley now. I'm going to take a path across the moor which leads me in the direction of the Upper Derwent Valley Reservoirs again. And now the rain has stopped and the sun is coming out. Brilliant. Okay, on towards Howden Reservoir now then. More grouse butts. These are different to the ones I've seen before on previous walks, but they're definitely grouse butts. I mean, they're marked on the OS map, so I know that's what they are. There's quite a lot of them, again, all in a straight line, sort of like parallel with this path.
The path across the moor slowly descended, with Ditch Clough to the right. I was heading for the body of water in the distance.
Well, I'm very pleased to report that the issue with my video editing software, which I spoke about before, has now finally been sorted. Hurrah! Oh, what a fiasco though. But I'm so relieved that I can now edit my films now. Because I thought, well, whilst the video editing software isn't working, is it worth me going out filming? Because if I can't edit them, what's the point? But I just thought, stuff it, let's just keep going out. I'll still go out. So I've got a lot of films to catch up on now with the editing. Well, I am pleased to have got it sorted. I mean, to cut a long story short, as I say, I'd spent ages emailing Pinnacle, getting nowhere, and from that I was led to believe that it wasn't a Pinnacle problem, so I went back to PC World, Curry's PC World, and they were the people I bought my computer from, because I thought, well, it must be a problem with the computer. And they were very helpful, I have to say. They were very, very helpful. No complaints with them at all. But they didn't know what the problem was. They didn't know the issue, so they could only suggest what it might be. But I took it to the shop on 2 occasions because the problem still came back. So after the second time they'd done a sort of like a test on it, I got the computer back home and the software still didn't work, and I just thought, what the hell do I do now then? So that was after 2 months of the problem when the problem first started. So I went back to Pinnacle, sent them an email and said, I'm not happy with this. My software still isn't working. I'd like my money back, please. I got a response from them saying, we're unable to do a refund because it's more than 31 days since you purchased the software. And I thought, oh, flip. But I emailed them back and I said, well, look, that's not acceptable. I said, the issue has clearly been with Pinnacle all along. I spent 2 weeks emailing one of your advisors, getting nowhere with the issue, and then I had to take it back to the store because I thought it was a problem with my computer. It clearly wasn't a problem with my computer, so you sort it, it's your problem. And then I got another email from them, and they'd actually enclosed a link. And they said, please click on this link and download what's on the link. So I did that, downloaded the link, and the software worked again. So it was like a quick fix. Oh, wow. I mean, I'm really pleased. I mean, it was really great to have got it finally sorted, but I just felt that I wasted 2 months of my life that could have been avoided, really. But anyway, it's fixed now, so I can now get on with editing my films, so I can carry on as normal now. I'm so relieved about that, so thank you for getting it sorted finally.
Eventually, I went through a gate to enter woodland, dropping down steeply to meet a lane. I followed the lane as it meandered around an inlet of water. It wasn't long, however, before I reached the main part of this reservoir.
I've reached Howden Reservoir now, so I think, now that it's 5 to 1 as well, I think this is the right time and place to stop and have my lunch. And I can't think of a pleasanter spot really to enjoy my food. I've still a few miles to go yet, but generally now this is the easiest part of the walk, because starting from here at Howden Reservoir, I'm just going to be walking beside the water for the rest of the day. Lovely, a really pleasurable walk. So just beyond Howden Dam there is Derwent Reservoir, and then obviously beyond Derwent Dam will be Ladybower Reservoir, where I parked my car this morning. So yeah, a nice easy walk back beside the water. How lovely is that?
Howden Reservoir is the uppermost of the 3 reservoirs in the Upper Derwent Valley. The western half of the reservoir lies in Derbyshire, and the eastern half is in Sheffield, South Yorkshire, as the county boundary runs through the middle of the reservoir, following the original path of the River Derwent. The reservoir is bounded at the southern end by Howden Dam, on which work commenced in July 1901 and completed in July 1912. Beyond Howden Dam, the lane followed the west bank of Derwent Reservoir, sometimes referred to as Upper Derwent Reservoir. This route took me through Birchinlee, the site of Tin Town, a village built by the Derwent Valley Water Board for the workers and their families who constructed the Derwent and Howden dams.
I can hear a lot of voices carrying at the moment. It's funny because since I've been walking down from Howden Reservoir and beside Derwent Reservoir here, I've seen a few people, you know, a few walkers, a few cyclists, but not that many. And of course, Upper Derwent Lane is closed on weekends, except to local traffic, because there are a few residential places around here. So, guaranteed when I get back to Fairholmes, I say I'm getting closer to it now, there'll be a lot more people around.
Oh, amazing, that's pretty good going.
The lane swung to the right, then back to the left again, as it meandered around an inlet of Derwent Reservoir. Before long, I was at the southern end of the reservoir, as I arrived at Derwent Dam.
So I've reached Derwent Dam again, so not much further to go before I finish my walk. So it was a pleasant walk beside part of Howden Reservoir. I did all of this side of Derwent Reservoir, and then just beyond Derwent Dam I'll be back by Ladybower. Ladybower. My old friend from Bristol has certainly left a legacy for me there with Ladybower Reservoir. So yeah, so just a little wander beside Ladybower Reservoir. I'll be back in my car. And yeah, as I said before, even though I'm not into football, the very best of luck for England in tonight's game.
Sadly, England lost to Italy that evening during a penalty shootout. But on the plus side, it was great that they had at least made it to the final. Beyond Derwent Dam, I was beside Ladybower Reservoir again, from where it was just a short walk back to my car.